Hi, and warmly welcome back to the Radical Broccoli podcast. We're so happy to have you here, and we are finally on a good roll with podcasting with our new studio setup. And it's me, Susie, and Annette today here in studio, and we have a Q&A episode today.
Yes, warmly welcome to a new episode. It's very fun to read the questions that come in, so I'm excited to dive into these topics.
Yeah, me too. It's a little bit of different things.
Yeah.
But firstly, let's just tune into life and to this day. And how are you doing?
Good. It's been the first week of kindergarten, and so far Rafe is loving it. So that's great. Other than that, it's I'm dealing with some challenges that I'm not ready to talk about yet, but but I'm very happy that life is getting a bit more structured, and it's like so amazing to see how happy he is when he sees these kindergarten teachers. He stretches out his arms and he smiles. Aww. And then he waves bye to me, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Independent.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the best thing that's happening right now.
That's like dream start to kindergarten. Because
Yeah.
for many it's super challenging, and the babies want to come back home and they feel scared and insecure and just want to stay with mommy.
Yeah.
But for both of us it was so
almost feel like Rafe
smooth.
takes care of me.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So.
They were both super ready to go to kindergarten.
Yeah, it's much more fun to play with other kids, and they have all the toys that we don't have at home. And yeah, no, I'm very, very happy about that.
Yeah.
And I'll probably share more of the rest when I'm ready.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah.
Because it's also tomorrow, the 17th of October, the full moon in Aries, which always brings a bit of intensity to life. And there's, a lot of things going on in the cosmos. And tomorrow we're tuning in with Cosmic Cowgirl in our membership to have a ceremony around this full moon and to harness. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you can say that.
To really, align with what's going on outside of us in the bigger picture. And to use that energy to release anger, to release frustration, to release pent-up energy, and to allow creativity to come back in.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see how the body and the mind and the soul and everything reacts to what's going on with the moon. Like, for example, I have had some skin breakouts, and I just feel like something's going on with my liver, and the liver is connected to anger. And Aries is actually a sign that has a lot of power,
explosivity.
anger. Yeah, so it's not weird at all when I think about it in this way, and it also helps me just work with it, not against it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, it's just so fascinating. I love to flow with nature in this way. And I also put on my story today, flowing with one thing, the rhythm of every single day. But then we have our female cycles. And then we also have the astrological events. So we can zoom out and out and out and connect and feel like we live more in harmony.
Yeah.
And also in harmony with nature, with the seasons, building on what we talked about in last week's episode about embracing fall and the season that we're in right now.
Yeah, and I also think it's so fun because I was watching Vikings. And even then, I don't know how many years it is, but they plan things according to the moon.
Plant?
Yeah, planned.
Yeah. Plan.
Events, for example, they knew that when the full moon was happening, the ocean would be like this. So then they could go, for example, take their boats through the bay.
Yeah.
And and we're like, oh my God, we're living with nature. But this is...
Yeah, they live... That's next level.
Yeah, but it's like that just tells me how far away from nature we have been, when it's almost like weird thing to be so interested in the moon and the stars, if you know what I mean.
It's so upside down, isn't it? I also saw always love Anima Mundi's Instagram posts. And yesterday they put a post which said that plant medicine is the original medicine. It's not the alternative, which it is called today.
Yeah.
So lab-based things are now the norm, and then plant medicine is alternative. And mushrooms is super weird, and astrology is like, oh my God. So we've lost maybe a little bit of touch with humanity, connection between nature.
Honestly, it's a bit arrogant that we think that we come here and the inventions that we have trump everything when nature has been like, take the mushrooms, for example. They are so intelligent. They can grow from in so many different environments, and they have so many properties that can heal the body in so many ways. Of course, some are poison.
Yeah.
And a lot of medicine derives from mushrooms.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, it's like we, the modern human, thinks that, you know, our technological way and the man-made way is everything. And in reality, you know, if a tsunami comes, the ocean is more powerful than everyone.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's been a great reminder of every time we've gone to Costa Rica. And for example, when I used to live in Brazil and I visited the rainforest, and I got to see how indigenous people live. Yeah. And they have so much respect for nature, the cycles, everything. As you say, they plant according with the moon. In the new moon, you plant the new seeds, etc. And also, our friend Adi with the retreat center, she would always keep every papaya seed from inside the papaya. And we were like, what are you saving them for? Yeah, she's like, I'm going to plant them when the moon is right. And we're like, okay, that's strange.
Yeah, but they grew up like that. All the locals I know, they can name every plant. They know how to like harvest everything. They know how to use them.
Yeah, I love that so much.
So yeah, it's very, I think it's a very nice and humbling thing to be more in tune with nature.
Yeah, and I think that maybe, well, it's like an ebb and flow also. So when we feel very disconnected for a while, it's going to come a tsunami, if you will, of craving more connection with nature, which I feel like we're seeing now in humanity. More and more people want to live off-grid, they want to live on farms, they want to live by the ocean. And we just feel inside that this kind of city life maybe isn't for everyone. Yeah, and also a lot of hospitals in the US, for example, they are now combining modern medicine with alternative medicine and seeing much better results than, for example, if a patient lays inside a white room for healing,
you know, like in a...
Which is triggering.
Yeah. You can literally go crazy from that.
We just talked about that before you came in the room.
Really?
Yeah, 10 minutes ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can talk
so
about this wherever.
So we are super in flow with nature and...
No, we still live in an apartment and a house and inside, and we drive a car and all of these things, but...
I think we're very curious, both of us.
Yeah.
And we want to learn, and I just crave more.
Know that when I listen to my body, for example, I always feel good after surfing. I always feel good after a walk. I always feel good after I've been with the trees.
Yeah.
Like just connecting with trees and
hugging trees.
I don't need more proof than that.
No.
Really?
I agree. Okay, should we get into today's Q&A?
Yes, let's do it. What end should we start? There's some motherhood. There's some dating in here. There's some business. And
should we start with the business?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So the first question is changing life and reaching your dreams. Where to start? Okay, I just assumed that was business, but yeah, we can start with this question. It's a very big,
huge question. Changing life and reaching your dreams. Where to start? Wow. This is a question about everything in life, basically. But we like to break it down and make it really, really practical. and make it into a day-to-day fun practice. So honestly, I would start by really creating that vision. And that could mean closing your eyes and envisioning your absolute dream life, your future, letting your imagination go really abundant and colorful, and turn up the intensity of everything and practice the actually out of comfort zone practice that is, because we have so many blocks to allowing ourselves to dream that we can even stop ourselves in our imagination. So that is a practice to really, I'm not going to say push yourself, but inspire yourself and take time to create your vision.
Yeah.
And
you can do this as many times as you need, because it can change on the monthly.
Yeah, it will change also over time as we evolve as human beings.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing practice. And I also do this a lot with my one-to-one clients. And then over a few weeks, months, years, it's incredible to see that they suddenly are living in this very vision that they create.
Yeah.
So after you have created the vision, this is actually taking it back to Radical Courage, the course, because this is the step-by-step process of putting your dreams into life. But then it's to follow the nudges in your day-to-day life, your intuition. Where does it take you? What are you interested in? What are you drawn to? How much can you listen to that? Whether that is food, colors, art, creativity, an activity you want to do. How much can you allow yourself to really follow your heart and your passions? And that is also where part of the changing your life goes, right? Because then you have to say no to something else that's less aligned for you and actually create space, because you can't just fill up more in life.
No.
And expect it to change. You need to create the space. Something needs to be taken down, removed, or destructed before you can fill up with this new stuff.
Yeah, the way I always tell it in the membership is life today is 100%. And so there's no more space in the 100%. So something needs to go. And often when you let something go, it can feel like death. And that's sort of the hard part of following your dreams, because you have to go through a period of feeling uncomfortable, being in a void because you're in the unknown. You haven't yet seen your new manifestation, but you let go of something old and comfortable, but that wasn't 100% right. And in this space is where you have to build self-love and compassion. And that is oftentimes where we all need help. We need a hand to hold in, and that's why we are so strong believers in community and why we created membership, because we believe that the more you are surrounded by people where you can see and hear and feel other people doing the same, the more your brain will start to believe that you can do it as well.
Yeah, exactly. They will expand you. And they will also hold a space for you and be the one that's cheering for you when you make the change.
Exactly. So we actually wrote a whole book about this.
We wrote a book about this. We will link everything in the description, and also very soon you will be able to take the full Radical Courage, the course, which is, well, an incredible course that can help you change your life around 100%, and it's step by step, all the process.
Yeah.
But I would say after this visioning and then destructing and then putting in something new, it's going to come up a lot of choices.
Yeah.
Of taking aligned action.
And this is also where you'll probably start to know your patterns, your trauma, what's been holding you back.
What is your limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And now is the time to do something different than you've ever done before. That's the only way you can change.
Yeah.
Because often we go and we do the same thing and we get the same result and we are disappointed and surprised of why things aren't changing.
Yeah. And then there's patience, because sometimes it can feel like the universe just left you.
Yeah, and that's the void.
That's the void, and it's a very intense place to be. And
I'm there often.
Yeah, I feel like I'm there right now, where I'm like, hello, 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 hello.
That's actually a time where I love to even pray.
I do that.
Meditate, ask for signs, ask for help, draw cards, ask to something higher to show itself to you that it is there.
I literally
And it
did
will
that
happen.
today. I was driving home from the kindergarten, and I just asked, the universe, please show me that you're here. Like, I need help. And then 10 minutes later, I'd forgot that I scheduled a call. And it was this amazing woman that we have in our community. And she just, I feel like for the first time in such a long time, somebody just saw me and heard me. And even if we just talked for 25 minutes or something, I could finally sleep after. And yeah, so help comes when I ask for it. So that was incredible.
That's so cool. And that is how the universe works. It will send you people and you're like, no, that's not the universe. That's just someone I booked. No, that is how the universe comes through with the help.
Yeah. So I'm so grateful for that. And also I think that one of the ways to start reaching your dreams is to do more of the things that you love, because then you start to attract the right circumstances for you. I always come back to horseback riding when I'm in a hard time in my life, and it always just brings me right back to where I need to be. So I always start to crave to be with horses again, to go riding, and horses are insanely powerful. I mean, you can sit on them and they can throw you off just to throw you back in alignment. They're wild creatures, but yeah. So doing things that you love. And I think that the thing that people don't realize is that it takes insane amount of courage and risk.
Yeah.
And a go all in attitude that we didn't learn that in Norway. We are like safe, be more safe, be protected by the government, be safe in every area. Everyone has to finish at the same time.
You have to have
nobody's supposed to be different. Do the same as everyone. Have this in the bank. You have to have an apartment. You have to have a blah, blah, blah. So we kind of come from a place where it's the opposite of risk-taking and this. In many ways amazing, because it's so safe. We haven't experienced, having our homes taken away from us due to war. If we lose our jobs, we are protected by the government in form of payment. We have maternity leave. Like, I'm not talking down about Norway. It's amazing in all of these ways, and it's helped me so much. But also, if you stay in this comfort zone forever, then, you will stay there. So yeah. I don't know how do you get this courage, because it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a little bit like I talked about in the reel that I posted today, which is often we wait and wait and wait to make the change until the place that we are is so unbearable that we just make the jump because we know it's harder to stay put. And that can be the catalyst, or maybe you want to make the change a bit sooner. I have done both things, and it's different timings for life, different parts of life.
Yeah, for sure. I stayed 2 years too long in a job. Got me so depressed and sick, and to the point where I knew I would never go back. But I always waited for someone to come and tell me that it was okay, that I had the permission. Yeah. And the thing is, no one will ever come and tell you that. You have to make it.
Yeah, it's not like the fairy tales that we're taught that a prince is going to come riding on a white horse and save the women. No, we are these courageous women that are going to pave our own way. And if you are in our community, you're listening to this podcast, you have big dreams, you have big visions. And I think that you're ready when you ask this question.
Yeah, and we are here. I mean, we have coaching services for a reason. I work with so many clients who have just quit their jobs, or they're dreaming of doing it. They're in the midst of starting their own business. They are right on the launch of a new business. Yeah. So we are here to guide you through this. I believe the reason that we have been through all of this is so we can pass on the knowledge.
100%. And the reason we are tested almost every single day, if we're going to stand in the open heart, or we're going to close and put our tail between the legs and turn around. No, we are going to keep going every single day, because we are here also to help every one of you in our community.
So yeah, I think that sums up our best tips. So the next business question is, starting a business in Norway, run through please. So like, what's the steps to start a business in Norway?
I just got a flashback from me literally Googling how to start a business and following the 10 steps.
That's the secret, folks. We Google.
Yeah, nowadays I would probably do ChatGPT because it's just a bit better overview. No, we tend to do things a little bit backwards, I guess. Like we never have big plans and then step by step follow it in the orderly way. We're just like, we have the idea. We're launching next week. And I like that, but we're also improving on the planning part. So, but yeah, if you already have the business idea, I don't know if this question is more about the formal parts. So I don't think that we are the experts on that part, but it is, going in Altinn, starting to register the company, which also, fun facts, create an astrological birth date for your company that you then can read up. Ours is a Pisces, isn't it? I think so. Can't remember. And then there's a bunch of practical things like opening a bank account, and then, of course, learning all about the different rules and taxes and VAT.
I can say, though, that one of the big learnings we had last year was we trusted our accountant. And it almost made us bankrupt.
Yeah, and we are still recovering.
And it's, of course, sad because it didn't have anything to do with how much we earned, but it was that we gave our trust to them, but we didn't we gave away the control in a way.
Yeah, and the overview.
Yeah, and it cost us literally almost everything. Yeah. So that was one important lesson, like own your business. And I'm still learning. I'm not an expert in that. There's so much I don't know how to do.
Yeah, we're still learning about everything. We're still learning about how to balance our cash flow in the month to month. And I've even gone to business school 5 years, but still every day, new challenge. And I feel like I'm at scratch. Yeah.
But the cool thing about running a business, it's a mirror to your self-development. It will tell you where you need to grow, where you need to mature. And this is also something that I'm working with my clients on, like to take the boring steps. And that's something that I have struggled the most with, but that gives the most confidence. Because I know that with myself, that when I do the research, when I take the phone call, when I sit down and learn something, it builds a new self-confidence. And this type of self-confidence that comes from the quote-unquote boring part of running a business is going to make you own your business much more. And that's going to make you sell, because you're going to be so proud and so like knowing of what you've created that the energy in your the thing you're selling is going to be completely different, because it's like you sell it with confidence. Yeah. And even if people don't know it, they pick up the energy of what you're selling.
For sure.
So that's why I teach it in this way, and that's something I still practice and come back to all the time.
Yeah. And also I would say really allow yourself to do things your own way. Like, don't be afraid to go outside of the norm. I'm saying follow the rules, but do it your own way, and hopefully don't look too much to anyone else, because this stuff is basically created from your unique soul blueprint and your energy. And this business is going to be the vehicle that's going to flow that life force through and out into the world, offering people something and then offering you money in return. And so we can never really look to someone for how to run something. We can always get inspired, but sometimes we get too inspired and then we forget what's the core. Yeah. So that's how business also is a lot of inner work and an amazing way to connect with our intuition.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. On the daily. And also the one last tips, something that we got from Billy back in 2020, is to treat, like, you have to look at your business as energy body. Like
Yeah.
it's its own entity, and it needs respect, it needs love, it needs attention, it needs care. So literally treat your business with respect and honor. And because if you go around nagging on it, or hating on it, or just saying it's hard or this and that, then it feels it.
Yeah.
It's actually like a own little thing that you need to blow energy into. And it's like they talk about in the Akashic records, like even a book, every single thing has energy.
Yeah.
And that especially goes for the business. So someone psychic can read your business, for example. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the business. The last thing she learned in Copenhagen Business School, for sure.
The last thing?
Yeah, about the energy of the business.
Yeah. True. No, I've been studying the Akashic Records for business. I'm not finished with that study, but it's so interesting.
Okay.
More on that another time.
Next question. Why does Nettern has no Insta anymore?
What?
I do. That's strange. Okay. When starting dating someone, what is the most important thing to feel?
Oh.
That's a good question. I don't know. I've read so many books where they say sort of like the trauma bond connection is exciting and wild, and then the soulmate connection is a bit more boring. But you have to sort of open up to see the love, but it's not like the passion. I don't know. I think every story is going to be different, but it's just something that's always stuck with me.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually.
But I think dating someone, I will always take it back to yourself. Like, do you feel valued? Do you feel seen? Do you feel respected? Do you feel safe?
Yeah.
It's all about self-worth, really. And I think in dating, it's so normal to get hung up on the other person. Like, what's he thinking? What's she thinking? What's she doing? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Instead of actually asking yourself, like, do I like this person?
I know.
Do I like who I am right now? Do I like how I feel in this relation?
It's something that's always been so important to me, is how much do I see that I'm allowing myself to be my whole self in this relationship.
And that's a hard one.
Yeah, and the more that I allow that, that means that I feel safe and comfortable. And that, of course, is going to grow and change over time. But sometimes we can date someone and be like, I'm a completely different person. That's so icky.
Yeah. You tell like different stories than you tell your friends.
You're trying to be way cooler. You're changing your clothing style, things like that. That can be a bit of red flags, actually, to check in on with yourself.
Yeah, if you suddenly start to post different things on Instagram, your story, like just being...
Yeah. Or hiding part of yourself, not sharing things because you're afraid of how it's going to be. Because sometimes we really like someone and we very much want them to like us, but we think they will only like this version of us. But that... you can scrap that because that's never going to work out.
No, in the long run, you will always have to show everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you start living with someone you can't hide.
No, which is the beautiful, challenging, intense, and like intertwined part of a relationship.
Yeah.
And then, it's all about over time helping each other to grow and being that catalyst, and also being the one that's super honest with each other about how you are, how you're feeling, your growth together. It's going to be the path of two different souls, going to grow in different paces.
Yeah, and sometimes you choose to grow together, and sometimes it's not meant to be in the same direction. So
yeah, but I think those are some great pointers for dating.
Yeah.
And dating is scary and intense and exhilarating and super exciting and romantic and everything at once.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Yeah, not to take it too serious, but check in with yourself and be in your, if you're a woman, be in your feminine, receive, get paid for.
Yeah. Get picked up in the door. That's so romantic.
I believe in the old school. It was sort of easy from the beginning. Well, actually, now that I look back, he was in the hospital when he came out, he had breathing problems. So actually the first milk he got was from Sus.
Oh my gosh. He didn't get from you first?
No, I because they were afraid that he couldn't suck. So they gave him in a little, what's it called when you feed the birds?
Pipette.
Yeah. So they took you hand breast.
Expressed.
No, you hand.
Expressed.
Oh yeah, that's what it's called. And put it in a cup, and then they took it in his mouth on the side.
That's so wild to think about.
And then we were at the hospital because he had breathing problems. So the first 24 hours, he got another woman's milk also.
Mm.
And then,
why couldn't he get your milk pumped?
No, because he was in an incubator.
But you couldn't pump.
No, and then I started pumping.
Yeah.
So
okay.
they gave him maybe 1 dose of this other milk, and then I started pumping, and my milk was overflowing.
Yeah.
And then I said I only want to give him my milk. They were like, no, you can't. But they had to stand on I was like, I want him to have my milk.
Yeah.
So I did, and from the beginning, super easy. I know that's not every woman's journey, but I was very lucky in this way.
You never had the pain in the breast and stuff.
No. Nothing.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. And the way my body is built, I have very, I don't know, I've always felt very feminine in my body, so I felt like it was so natural also.
Yeah.
And I got huge breasts. Oh my God, they were so big. In the beginning, it was uncomfortably big. It was
were they like rocks?
No. Soft, big.
But would they like spill?
No.
You didn't have to have the pads in?
No.
So they had the perfect amount of milk?
Yes.
How lucky.
The only thing was that, no, there wasn't anything.
But did you enjoy breastfeeding? I feel like you were a bit impatient.
I thought it was a bit boring.
I remember you were like, Raish, come on,
yeah.
I'm done.
No, but I think that you have to understand the circumstances. Like, I've been so much alone with him. So like, if I didn't breastfeed, I was also with Rafe. Like, if you breastfeed, maybe Dale would take Luca from, you know what I mean?
After?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was never painful, but it was tiny bit annoyance.
Yeah. Which is fully understandable.
But I also loved it. It's like such a beautiful connection with your baby. And it's so cute when they fall asleep on your boob.
Yeah.
And the first 7 months, that's the only way I would fall asleep was with breastfeeding. And in the night, breastfeeding. So in the end, I lost so much weight. Like, I didn't have any fat left. So I felt like literally Rafe ate me up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't keep up with the calories. And so when his dad came, he started to give him a bottle in the night. And then I just noticed, like, whoa, not breastfeeding in the night. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So
at some point, it feels like they're sucking the energy out of you.
Yeah, and they are. They are taking your life force energy that you will never get back.
And if you're not able to nourish yourself, I mean, I'm so hungry. Oh my God, I feel like I eat all the time.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm still breastfeeding.
Yeah.
But do you notice a big difference in your hunger?
No. Not really. I haven't thought about it.
No.
But I can get to it.
Yeah.
But then he started hanging out more with his dad, so he got a bottle for nap time, and then he got a bottle, and then he didn't really ask for my milk so much. And for me, it was the most release to not breastfeed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I finally could restore. And in the end, I just decided, like, it's time. It wasn't like something I planned. I follow my body always, my instinct. And it was amazing. And Rafe was just like, he understood. It wasn't like he was asking and I said no. It was more just like a very natural ending. And I had him in the bathtub one day and he was like staring at my boobs. And then he's like, and I was like, you want to try? You want to see if he needs milk?
Yeah. And
then he like latched on, but then he wasn't interested. And then he just looked up at me and he started smiling like,
Mommy, we're done.
Yeah, so I feel like we had a common agreement, like, we're done.
That's so good.
And I've tried again after just to see if it is interested, and it's not. So
amazing.
It was a very, like, what can I say? It was a very peaceful journey. But what I do feel is that breastfeeding was so healthy for me in my hormonal cycle. And I feel like now I feel more toxic, actually. It's almost like I don't have the same...
same flow.
Yeah. So for me, it was actually like something that maybe it took a lot of fat and energy, but I can feel like I was so much more healthy and alive.
Wow, maybe because the fat is processed through the liver.
So maybe something like that.
And then it's kind of like, yeah,
there's something that's changed, and
we're on to something here.
Yeah, and I also noticed right in the process there's more hormonal stuff happening. So I feel like, I mean, my weight came back more. But I also noticed like maybe more in the stressed places on the body, if you know what I mean. Like when I'm stressed, I usually gain weight in certain places.
Okay.
So I feel like the cortisol level, like it was almost like when I breastfed, I was immune to stress. And then when
that is what they say, that you get this immunity to sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Not immunity, but it creates oxytocin.
Yeah.
Which is very absolute opposite of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And those cannot coexist. So every time you breastfeed, cuddle the baby, you produce oxytocin.
Yeah.
And that must calm down the
so
body.
It's almost like I feel more... It's harder with the sleep deprivation.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And also, I think that if you're struggling with breastfeeding, there's so many resources out there. And I know that every mom's journey, I mean, for some it's so painful. And some babies won't latch. And some babies don't take breast milk. So they need formula from the start. I know some moms judge themselves for that, even though it's just as beautiful. So I think that we all have to remember, like, every baby comes in here like a little star. And they are all completely different, and the mom is different. So never compare yourself, is my point.
Yeah.
It's more just interesting to hear other people's stories, because then you can sort of... It's like so weird, because we don't grow up learning about it. Like, I had no idea that you had to learn so much about breastfeeding.
Me neither.
You bought a book about it. I was like, a book?
Yeah. And I started reading that after I had my baby.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was going to do it before, but then baby, it was there, and I was like, okay.
Well, he came 3 weeks early.
I spent the time while breastfeeding, learning about breastfeeding.
Yeah. And what about you? You had a bit more... You are still breastfeeding, and he's almost 2.
He's 1.5 in October. Still breastfeeding. Have like a on and off relationship with it. Mostly, I still enjoy it, and it feels natural to me. If not, I wouldn't do it. But I many times question if it's time to stop. But I also see that my boy, he absolutely loves it, and it is one of the most comforting things for him. And he asks maybe 3 times a day. I've stopped breastfeeding at night. I say that, and the past 3 nights I've actually been feeding once, because he's woken up, ran out of his floor bedroom and come running into me, which is so hilarious that he can actually do that now. Wow. I feel like he's still a baby. Usually his door is closed, but yeah, I had a very challenging start to breastfeeding, and I have always had very small breasts, so I was at first wondering how the hell am I going to fit milk in these boobs. But then I learned that, okay, it's not inside the boobs that the milk is, it's in the ducts and the stuff behind. And I think the first 10 days of breastfeeding were so incredibly painful.
And I remember you also had a very hungry... No, he wasn't premature.
No, it wasn't premature. No. He was 2 days in the window of a full-grown term. So he was tiny and he was hungry. So he came early to quickly grow. And I was feeding a lot. And that was what led me to all these books, was both my pain, but also like how much to feed and when to stop. And
that's true. That was a bit... also, you would know, like, that do they need every second hour?
Yeah. And every time he cries... When is he full? Yeah, does he ever get full? It felt like he never got full. Does he need a break? Do I need to time it? I didn't even know that you had to switch between 2 breasts. So I fed a lot from the right breast, and it's still always that one that gets full of milk.
Same with me.
So yeah, it was a process of balancing in between trusting myself, my intuition, but also getting great resources to help to understand the needs, because it's also to do with their emotions and how they feel safe, and it's a very quick place for them to learn to regulate. But you also want, or I also wanted to help him being soothed by other people, and not necessarily always by sucking, but also sucking is very stimulating for them.
I remember I was in the health station in Norway, and they gave me such a helpful pamphlet on how to soothe the baby, and there's 7 steps. And one of the last one is actually breastfeeding.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do before. And that was one of the most important things for me to learn, especially when I handed my baby to other people and gave away a bit of the responsibility. Because I've thought the same as you, that the only way to get him to stop crying or to get him to sleep was to give him milk.
Yeah. Which obviously we think, because every time we do that, it works. But we forget, oh, there's other things to do. And the nurse that came home to us after I had given birth, she also showed me how speaking in different voices and the lighting of the room and all of these things, your body language, this matters to a newborn. And I was baffled. She was talking to our baby, 3 days old. And I was like, what the hell?
They are more wise than we know.
Yeah, and he was turning his head slowly. And I thought that he didn't know, or that he couldn't observe anything.
I mean, they almost don't open their eyes in the beginning. They just sleep. And
they sleep, drink, cry, poop,
fart,
and look incredibly cute.
They look like tiny aliens.
Yeah, they're truly.
But as a mom, they will always think they're the cutest on the earth.
They're the most beautiful
thing
you've
back
ever
pictures,
seen.
I'm like, oh,
oh gosh. Yeah. So, well, breastfeeding journey has been long, and it's been everything, and now it's a question of my boundaries, of learning to soothe a toddler, very different from soothing a newborn.
And do you feel, because now you are breastfeeding a boy who walks, he goes in and grabs your boob?
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Do you feel like that people look weird at you, for example?
Yeah, I feel super judged sometimes. I feel like society tells you that 1 year is definitely maximum. But looking at research, both on the health of the woman and on the child, it's incredible to keep breastfeeding, and it boosts their immunity, and it also gives me a lot of lower risk for different types of cancer, for example, which I didn't know about. And so I love these health benefits, but I'm kind of stumbling in finding my way in where the boundary goes for me. And I don't want him to just come and grab milk. I want to I need to allow it. But then where does the line go? Do I say no and then he gets super upset? Okay, I need to learn how to handle his disappointment then. Because life is going to be disappointing. So that is the next level of our journey. That is this boundaries, and he also just wants to hold a hand on my boob at all times. That's the most soothing thing that he can do, and I don't like it. I feel touched out. I feel...
He's triggering you.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because you have a very stubborn child. And he's at the phase where he knows what he wants. And you are more of on the people-pleasing spectrum.
I want him to have everything that he wants. I don't want to have any conflict.
No. So I see from outside what's going on, but I think it's hard. I think that Luca is teaching you so much right now.
Yeah.
You can use everywhere.
An example is, I asked yesterday his nanny, where he goes every day, does he ever cry with you? And she's like, no, he's never cried. Never. And I was asked, how is it to put him to sleep? And she said, it takes 2 minutes. I lay him down, I sing a song to him, he's asleep. And my jaw just dropped. Because with me, as soon as I pick him up, he doesn't want to go in the car. He has another project, and I say, no, we're going to go home now. He tries to wriggle his way out of it or have a tantrum. And it's always with me, and it's so testing. And yeah, we are learning a lot. And I love him more than anything in the world. That is very important to say.
Yeah.
We also have so much fun. It sounds like he's very, very troubling. That's not true.
No, not at all. But it's the reality. And I think that,
behind all the laughs and smiles and cuddles you see on Instagram, I try to share more of the reality too, but I'm never going to put his tantrum online, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's also about respect for him.
Respect his boundaries, but just know that hard stuff, the shit goes down.
Baby cries.
My baby cries, yeah? Yeah.
All right.
And I don't know when the breastfeeding journey is going to end.
But how do you feel in your body? Do you feel like that it's time or?
Maybe soon. But for the right reasons, I want to do it. And with good communication.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We're so different. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like for you it's going to be super emotional.
Super emotional. Just thinking about it makes me almost cry because it feels like that bond that keeps
No, that bond doesn't disappear.
No, but that's how it feels.
Yeah. No. Okay.
And also it feels like robbing him of what he loves the most almost.
All right. So do you want to go to the last question?
Yeah.
Okay. How to find your passion in life? I feel so lost between everything we should do.
The should. A wise man once said, should is could with shame wrapped around it.
Oh, wow. I love that.
So I have eliminated this word from my vocabulary. But it's natural to have a lot of shoulds, and that can weigh you down. Why? Because it's shameful. It's obligation. It's so heavy. It's so dense. And if there's one thing that sucks away the creativity and passion in life, it's that.
I think we're both very strict with ourselves because no matter how shit life gets, we always keep each other accountable that we chose this. We can make a choice every single day. We can choose what job we want to have. We can choose where we're going to school. You have free will. So it's never impossible, is what I'm trying to say. You can also choose something you love. And you can choose joy, and you can choose healing, and you can choose help, and you can choose compassion. And
it takes us back a bit to the first question that was asked today also, about how to find your passions and connect with that. And it's there, just know that. Some people come to us and they ask like, oh, I don't feel like I have any interest or passions, or I don't know which direction to go. Well, it's because you've not allowed yourself to explore. And experiment and even try.
Yeah. Yes. So I think when you get lost in the shoulds, it's an inventory of having... you have the option to choose. And if you do something you don't like, then you say, I choose to go to work today. I choose to go to school today.
And then you take back the power one step at a time. Because being in victim energy... it's so draining and it makes you so miserable, feeling like you're living from obligation and you haven't chosen it. But actually zoom out and see that you have chosen it. And then start by doing things that you feel passionate about every single day.
Yeah.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour.
And of course, there's lots of things we don't want to do.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that is boring to pay. But this is where... we have to take back the power, go into maturity. I mean, I'm right now going through sort of, I think, the biggest low point in my life, and something that I feel I gave everything I had, literally, and energy-wise, and sort of left in minus, in a way.
Drained.
And I'm struggling right now with... almost like the faith, you know, like how could I give so much and it ended like this and I had to experience this and this and this. but also every day I know that I have to allow myself space to grieve and to all of these things. But then I also have to choose how I'm going to let it affect me.
Yeah.
And I think all of us will have these experiences, some now, some later.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, there are so many people that are, they are in the worst of circumstances, and they find the light, and they hold on to the light, and they hold on to the light, and that's when we have to remember how lucky we are. When I look around, I have everything I need, and I'm safe. I saw an airplane the other day from the military, and I'm just thinking about the Middle East and how everything going on. I'm like, wow, every day I can go to bed and I don't have to worry about bombs.
Yeah.
And it's just, when you start zooming out on life a bit, you start to get very grateful, even for the hard things. But that's again why we need community, and we need help, and we need someone to hold space for us when it doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. And I also love to remind myself that life isn't just the highs.
No.
The lows.
There's so much beauty in the lows.
The in-between. Like, we've been taught that happiness is what we're supposed to search for all the time. But the power of grieving, of being angry, of being sad, of being frustrated, of feeling challenged, it's the natural part of life. And it keeps balancing each other out all the time. And yes, we need to work on allowing ourselves to feel happy and to create happiness. But don't forget the power and the importance of being in every single emotion in your life. And when you do that, creativity comes.
Absolutely. And with that, we will end today's episode. It's a long one. I hope you enjoyed it, listen to the end, and please send us a message if some of this resonated with you. We are in the midst of launching our one-to-one offerings on our website.
Yes.
So that it will be easier to book with us.
Yeah, you can already book, but just DM for now, and the website cometh. Also, what's coming is Radical Courage, the course.
Yes.
For self-study. And also my newest course for the pregos.
Yes.
Very, very soon. And of course, our May retreats open for booking for a physical container where we hold space for exactly what we've been talking about in this episode. And it's a catalyst for growth. 4 days, 5 nights. No, the opposite. In a beautiful space, in surroundings held by a group of support, and we've, put together a schedule that supports you every single day in different ways. We tweak a little here, tweak a little there.
You leave like a rocket.
You leave flying out like a rocket. And even physically, we saw brighter faces, more open shoulders from the participants now in September. And their testimonials just say everything. So welcome to May Retreat. We have early bird offer right now until end of October. If you book before the end of October, you get 10% discount on the full price, which is amazing. And you also get a one-to-one with one of us to start the process before we go to the retreat.
Yes.
Okay, hope to see you in May, or inside one of our courses, or one-to-ones, or in the membership. And we will be back with another episode next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.